Hi there, and welcome to Plant CEO. In today's episode, I'd like to welcome Kory Kelickson, the CEO and co-founder of Vejii. Hi, Kory, how are you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
So you're calling in from British Columbia. So you're born and raised in Canada. And whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm in a city called Kelowna.
And that's where your offices are as well, I take it.
Correct. Yeah, we're based here in Kelowna in BC.
So you created Vejii, which is basically an online grocery store, but also a marketplace. Can you tell me how you went about creating it in the first place?
Absolutely. So the goal with Vejii always was to create the marketplace platform, which is traditionally different from a standard e-commerce website or vegan grocery store. And the reason for that is that we have a multi-vendor platform. So we actually have the ability to onboard thousands of brands and millions of products onto the platform and create a really broad scale offering of plant-based and sustainable products. So it's not just a simple one warehouse. We operate off of multiple distribution centers and regionalized distribution with same-day delivery in some key areas as well. So the goal really is to scale the company and scale the product offering to include all sorts of plant-based and sustainable living products in a consolidated shopping platform.
Yeah. And what inspired you to create it in the first place?
Well, I'm very passionate vegan. I went vegan for the animals. I spent a number of years transitioning through that process. And during that period, we really found it difficult to shop. And we ended up having to go to multiple grocery stores to get everything that we needed on a regular basis. So the idea really was to create a singular platform where you can come and have access to all of your top brands, plant-based food products, but also other product categories and sustainable living products that align with our values and the values of our customers too.
Yeah. And if you think back just before you started, what also made you turn vegan?
I think aside from, quite a few years ago, first exposure to slaughterhouse videos and all that. And then after that, there was the movie Forks Over Knives, which really had a big impact for me as well. And it wasn't certainly an overnight process for me. It was over a number of years from eliminating meat out of my diet and then transitioning out, fish, dairy, and other animal products. But for me, what we're doing really and how the process went for me was really about accessibility. So, 10 years ago, we didn't have nearly the same amount of products available to help somebody looking to transition towards a plant-based diet. Now, today, we have plant-based alternatives for pretty much every food category. And some of the newer categories which have emerged over the last several months, like plant-based seafood or alt dairy and egg products are really changing the game. So for me, there was a definitive moment where I started that process, but it took a number of years. And I think what is really exciting now in what we're doing with Vejii is the amount of accessibility that we're providing to people across the country, whether you're in a big metropolitan city or in a rural community where you don't typically have access at your local grocery store. That's really what it's all about for me, and making this a smoother and easier process for people today than it was for me or for other people a number of years ago.
Yeah. And where are you available at the moment? So is it mainly in the US and Canada?
We launched actually first in the US and built out our platform there, and then recently launched in Canada as well, and just started doing same-day delivery in the Greater Vancouver area too.
Yeah. And do you see any sort of purchase habits that are different from people who are living, I guess, in urban cities compared to more of the outskirts cities and towns?
I think that people in urban communities have access to a lot of products through the website or going to the grocery store offerings in traditional brick and mortar stores have expanded. I think that people in the more densely populated communities gravitate towards the more like hard to find products and the boutique and niche products, like somebody living in California. Whereas in rural communities where there just is very limited access to begin with, just having access to the basics is kind of more important for them there. So I think that's sort of a trend that we see between the different types of communities that we can cater to.
Yeah. And I guess with the large sort of bricks and mortar supermarkets, a trend here in the UK, for example, with Asda, where they are having aisles dedicated to plant-based products. And I know we previously spoke about this, where it could work well for some types of users, but for others it may not, because like it might not be in the right section where you expect to find things. What are your feelings about that, and how is the dynamics change when you're buying online, obviously?
So I think that when it comes to grocery stores, there's two approaches. Obviously for me, if I was going to the store, I'd love to have like an entire plant-based section where I just knew everything was plant-based and I could just browse through there, right? The other path, and for a lot of the larger scale mainstream companies, they actually want their products to appear in the same section as their animal-based alternatives. So if you were going to buy burgers for dinner, you might be comparing and say, oh, look, here's a Beyond Burger. I might just try that, right? And that's really catering to the flexitarian market more so than the vegan market. So if it comes to vegans, sure, you'd want to have an aisle dedicated just to products for yourself. But if you're targeting the flexitarian market and trying to introduce this to people as an alternative to the meat product that they might buy otherwise, then that is the approach that we see a lot of companies taking. And when it comes to shopping online, what Vejii is, it's an inclusive platform. So on our website, we really want to cater to everybody and understand that there's a lot of people that are curious and interested in trying plant-based alternatives. So you have the ability to browse comfortably and look at alternatives, whether you're vegan or not vegan or plant-based or flexitarian. There's going to be great options for you there. But on the flip side, if you are already plant-based, you can shop happily on our website to know that every single product on there is plant-based, and you don't need to concern yourself with browsing ingredients for every product unless you're just looking for, obviously, for the nutritional value.
Yeah. And thinking about the products then, what are the sort of top selling items that you're listing at the moment?
So when we launched in the US initially, we launched with over 3,000 different products on the website. And so we spent the first 3 months really understanding buying behavior on site and looking at what products and product categories were most popular. So once we established that, we built a platform called Vejii Express, which is kind of where we will house inventory internally within our distribution centers versus brands shipping direct to consumer. And so the idea with that was to really narrow down what are the most popular products and then ensure that we have them in stock and available for delivery with faster shipping times. So that whole express category is representative of the most popular products. And that happens to be mainly frozen items, plant-based meat, dairy, and seafood products. That platform with Vejii Express is expanding as we see new product categories and trends, and then bringing those products internally. But right now, today, those frozen perishable items are the most popular on the site.
Yeah. So how quick does it ship when you're doing it via the expressway?
Vejii Express in the US really is guaranteed shipping within 2 days.
Right.
So you know how if you go on to Amazon and you buy a bunch of products, some of them ship from different vendors, and then some of them are Amazon Prime, where you're going to get faster delivery. It's actually a similar concept to that. So when there's items that we carry in stock and we control the inventory, we can guarantee faster shipping times versus the product coming from other vendors where, obviously we try to have vendors adhere to their commitment on shipping and delivery times. But this is where we know that it's our product that we can get to your door and have it shipped within 2 business days.
Yeah.
In Canada, Veggie Express within Vancouver area means same-day delivery or 2 or 3 day delivery to the other side of the country.
And if it is frozen, is there more of a challenge sort of getting that to the customers?
It is a challenge and something that we've had to learn very quickly. We do ship frozen items with, ice packs or gel packs and dry ice. Obviously, as a company that is trying to create an ecosystem for sustainable products, we also ourselves have to consider our own environmental impact as well. And so while we recognize that as a company that's a distribution company to some extent, we're shipping products across the country, our biggest environmental impact and carbon footprint comes from our shipping and packing materials. So we're constantly installing data loggers inside of packages to test how long things can stay frozen for. We're looking at regionalizing the distribution so that you get faster delivery time to customers, but also shorter transit times as well, which means less dry ice, less gel packs, less insulation, less packing materials. So that's really an ongoing initiative for us in helping to reduce our carbon footprint as a company as well. But shipping frozen products is challenging for sure. And I think that we've really dialed in on it now. And we want to ensure that if you're ordering product from us and it's frozen, that it arrives at your doorstep frozen as well.
In terms of those, top items, what are the top sort of brands that you're seeing like lots of repeat orders for at the moment? Can you name some of the products that you're quite proud about?
Yeah, we've been really. What's been really interesting is that you could probably guess that things like Beyond Meat and Tofurkey and Gardein and Miyokos and a lot of the bigger brands are very popular. And what's been really exciting actually, and a lot of that falls into like the plant-based meat category. Plant-based seafood has just been blowing up. And I think that's so cool. We have a brand called All Vegetarian Vegan on the site that sells like vegan shrimp. And they also do some other plant-based meat products, but like those shrimp, like we can hardly keep in stock. And we recently onboarded another brand called the Plant-Based Seafood Co., which has a line of products called Mind Blown. They do like dusted, coconut shrimp and scallops and stuff. And those products too, and that whole category is really something that we see trending on the website and that we're going to continue to expand. Also, all dairy, cheese, and egg products are becoming very popular. Also, everybody knows, like Just Egg. There's a great brand called Simply Eggless as well that recently launched onto the site. And egg alternatives are really big right now, as well as different types of milk alternatives. I was just fortunate enough to sample some products from a company called What If Foods that's based in Singapore. And they do, all their products it's like dairy products made with bam nut milk. I tried that. They sent me a sample from Singapore. Probably the creamiest milk that I've tried for coffee too, which was really awesome. So kind of the areas that we see really trending are plant-based seafood and all dairy products right now. Obviously, you have an established market for plant-based meats and proteins. So this is what we're looking at as sort of the next trend.
Yeah. And would you, when the time is right, carry the cell-based meats and cell-based seafood as well?
So that's a great question. I think, yes, we would certainly create it as its own category. I'm not sure if you saw, but so we have Vejii and Veggie Express platform. Our website is designed to cater to a flexitarian market, right? We're not trying to isolate ourselves to just a vegan audience. For that, we have Vegan Essentials, which is a company that we'll be acquiring over the next few weeks once we get listed to go public. They are very orientated towards the vegan community. They've been around for almost 20 years, and they have that niche audience, which is a different value prop from what Vejii is. So I could definitely see on Vejii, and I think that cell cultured meat is really going to be the future and have a huge impact on the meat industry as well. So I think it's one of the most exciting innovations happening in the space right now. And I would certainly want to carry that as its own category on the website as those products start to roll out and get through regulatory compliance in the US or in Canada, or, you know, even in the UK or overseas.
Yeah. And you're collecting a lot of consumer data. What sort of insights have you gained from how your audience is behaving and their purchase behavior on your site?
So the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to like data insights and analytics really is understanding the product offering and making sure that we have products available for consumers, understanding the trends. So we look at, like, you know, category performance, up and coming brands that we can work with. And so as an example, we mentioned with Veggie Express, right? So we have close to 150 unique brands that have onboarded directly to the site. And in many cases, we're essentially taking orders and funneling them over to the brands to ship. And a lot of the brands are just starting out and like establishing themselves in the e-commerce world. So if we start seeing a particular brand trending, we'll actually go and contact them and then offer to take their products in-house and let them become part of the Veggie Express platform. So in that case, we'll even offer like fulfillment services to those brands so that they can become like we're constantly migrating products that we see trending and gaining popularity or velocity into the Veggie Express platform. So that's part of data analytics, is understanding which brands on the site are performing, which categories are trending, and then also what people are looking for. So we can actually look at what keywords people are searching for on the website. And if we don't have products to fit, that's something that we'll go and procure through our merchandising team.
What sort of products or categories would you like to sell, but you haven't done so yet?
I think in the future, one of the biggest categories that we're going to enter into will be sustainable fashion and accessories. I think that is really the next phase. And, you know, again, it's not just about animal rights, it's about sustainability. And I think that as more and more innovative companies are focusing on new materials, plant-based materials, leather alternatives for accessories, and a lot of really well-known brands are starting to add that into their product offering. I just think that trend is going to continue. And when we launch it, we really want to launch with a comprehensive offering of top plant-based and sustainable fashion brands.
Yeah, that's great. And I also see the market for that. And I also invested in a company called Watson and Wolf, and they're doing accessories for males and females. So they're effectively wallets or purses and handbags and stuff. And it's all non-leather, obviously alternative leather, like might be using cactus leather or different types there. So yeah, it's definitely an area that's going to be growing quite a lot. So that's cool. And any other sort of categories that you're looking at?
You know, we're looking at, you know, we've had some furniture manufacturers contact us. You know, we just launched an electric scooter onto the site in the States. So really, like, in going back to the marketplace model, this is designed to be an ecosystem for sustainable brands. We don't want to be pigeonholed in as just a grocery store, but we know that's what right now what people are looking for. But as these new categories expand, we want to be the marketplace that consumers can come to, that they're aligned with the offering and focused on sustainability. You know, you look at all the different marketplaces that are out there online right now, and I think that because it's 2021, people really have the ability to purchase from a company that is aligned with their own values. And so you might, you know, be interested in sustainability and plant-based alternatives and go and shop at Amazon, but Amazon is still selling everything else under the sun as well. So this is a bit more niche, and we want to be that sustainability marketplace.
Yeah, and it's the same with you know, other trends. You know, also in finance, there's sustainable banks now that will help you get, you know, credits or even help plant trees, etc. So it's a big trend, and I I do see there's more investment, especially from the younger generation, that are going into sustainable businesses as well.
No, I agree. And you know, like I mentioned earlier, we're taking every initiative that we can as a company to reduce our carbon footprint through our distribution network. And we're also looking at options that we can integrate into the platform to have consumers start to help offset their purchase as well, which I think would be really exciting and a great option at checkout for consumers too. So we're looking at all types of options to incorporate sustainability initiatives within the company and an offering to our consumers too.
What do your consumers say about your service?
We really try to listen to the feedback that we get from consumers. Obviously, there are a lot of dietary restrictions for people. So we get a lot of people, you know, providing feedback. They'd like more gluten-free options, or, you know, they'd like soy-free options. And the fact is, like, we really do carry both, but expanding those options to accommodate our customers is really important as well. So we're trying to get to the point where we can have a unique offering and you can drill down on the filters of the categories exactly to like what you're looking for and what you need.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of sort of gluten products that also include egg for some reason, especially like the breads. I don't know if you've seen that as well.
We have a team that goes through every product that we list on the site to make sure that, you know, things don't slip through the cracks. But what I think that customers are going to be looking for in the future, now that plant-based alternatives have been established, I think people really need to consider the nutritional value in the ingredients, right? So it's awesome that I have great replacements for burgers and chicken nuggets and stuff like that. These are still processed foods, just like the alternatives would be as well. So I think like things like low sodium, less ingredients, clean label are going to become increasingly important for people. And I am starting to see some brands that have more like of a clean label orientation. And so the point is that just being plant-based and eating processed plant-based foods is just also not healthy either. So I think it's important, and I think in the future, there's going to be more of an emphasis, because it was, for a lot of people, it was just enough that I could get a burger alternative. That was enough for me right in the beginning. Now it's not enough anymore. Now it's going to be about, is it sustainable? What are the ingredients? Is it healthy for me? Right? So I think those are the things that people are going to be considering when it comes to plant-based food alternatives. You know, whether it's cell cultured meat or plant-based meat and dairy products in the future. And, you know, I really love, like, there's great brands out there that have very few ingredients. They're organic, non-GMO. Those are things that I think people care about too, and would be something that they're going to incorporate into their purchasing habits.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, you know, obviously there's a lot of plant-based products that are heavily processed and have way too many ingredients. So yeah, I definitely see a trend of you know, companies coming out with more natural ingredients and kind of like less is more to some degree.
Right. I mean, the idea of like trying to exactly copy and imitate meat is a great idea, and that has required a lot of like texturization and different ingredients to be incorporated. But there's some brands that are sort of like taking a bit of a step back now, I think, and that is a bit of a reset, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of investment so far for the company, how have you managed to you know, get your funds to get where you are today? And you mentioned that you're planning to take the company public as well. So it'd be great to talk about those two things.
Sure. So we launched the site in the end of November of 2020. So it's not been quite a year yet of operating. And through that period, we also launched into the Canadian market. We have raised some capital as well prior to today. And we are just in the process of going for our listing approval as well. So, you know, fingers crossed, but hoping to be listed in the next, you know, several weeks. which is really exciting. And we will be listed here in Canada on the Canadian Securities Exchange.
Yeah. And there was another plant-based company that's also listed in Canada, right?
There's actually quite a few. You might be thinking of the Very Good Butcher.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. We offer their product on our website as well. They've really done a great job in growing the company and scaling into new markets. So definitely recommend trying their product. It's also very delicious.
So yeah, so once you have gone public, what are you planning to do with the funds that you raise from doing that? Are you looking at things like international expansion? You already mentioned the acquisition that you're planning as well.
Yeah, so we are planning on closing the acquisition of Vegan Essentials, which is an e-commerce vegan grocery store in the US. Part of our strategy is actually an M&A strategy to roll up a house of brands within our corporation. So it really is very synergistic, because through the data analytics on our website, we can really see which brands that we've onboarded that are trending and gaining traction within our own platform. And that allows us to make very strategic decisions when it comes to acquiring companies, whether they be online competitors, distribution companies, or even specifically CPG brands. So we know there's certain product categories like plant-based seafood or alt dairy and egg categories that are trending right now. And it just provides us, like, that data analytics really provides us with opportunities to identify strategic acquisition targets that we can bring in and roll into the company, and then fuel growth for those companies through the online platform.
If you do go public in a few weeks' time, hopefully, fingers crossed, will you be planning to do any sort of brand acquisitions this year? And if so, how many are you looking to do this year? And then maybe what will you look to do next year?
I think that we certainly would be looking to get some more acquisitions under our belt prior to the end of the year. We're generally looking at CPG companies, like, innovative brands, as well as online competitors, or particularly companies within, logistics and distribution as well. And part of our plans for expansion into Europe, including the UK, which is an important market for us in terms of our entry point, may come through acquisition as well.
Yeah, it would be great to see you across the pond over here. So, and finally, what sort of background? You've been doing some e-commerce work beforehand as well, right? In your previous career. It'd be great to just touch on what experience you had just before Vejii as well.
Sure. So by trade, I graduated as an electrical and computer engineer, specializing in wireless technology and RF. And after that, I worked for a little bit within the engineering consulting community, but very quickly exited and started in my career in e-commerce and online startups. Those have generally been technology companies in online retail, so telecommunications products. Fast forwarding through to the start of the regulated cannabis industry in Canada as well. We were the largest distributor for devices and accessories globally, and had quite a big presence in the UK also. We became the first company in Canada to be able to offer a marketplace for devices and accessories, and we offered a marketplace for medical cannabis as well. So at the beginning of that industry, it was very difficult to have access to medical cannabis from different producers. So we were the first company that was able to aggregate all of the offering and provide all of our customers with a one-stop shop for all things cannabis at that time. And so really my background prior to this has been in executing this marketplace model, which is very similar to what we're doing with Vejii today.
It's great what you're doing, and yeah, hope to see you IPO soon in the Canadian stock market, and then look forward to see you coming over to the UK. But yeah, thanks very much for coming on the show, Kory.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time.
Okay, speak to you soon.
You too. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.